Hi, I'm Sarah from SarahTypes.com. Today I'm going to show you my favorite calligraphy and lettering tools. First, I'm going to start off with the basics. A pencil, a ruler, a protractor, and an eraser. My favorite pencil to use is just a lead pencil. You can do really light lines, really light sketching, as well as get pretty dark. And I can just keep refilling it instead of always sharpening it. And then I just have regular plastic ruler, a cheap protractor from the dollar store, and you want to make sure you have a really good eraser so you can erase everything afterwards and not leave any marks when you do that. Next is the tools I use for more traditional calligraphy. I have a straight pen. I don't have an oblique pen just yet. I'm still working with this one, and it holds pretty much any size nib. If you purchase just the plastic speedball pen, there's really only one size, but this one you can put larger and smaller nibs in. I keep all my nibs in this little plastic container with a lid. It's pretty handy. I do have a couple favorites. They're these little ones from Browse, and I'll leave the links to these specific ones in the description below. I find they do really well with thins and thicks. With the nib pens, the inks I like to use are the Windsor Newton inks. I got a pack with a bunch of different colors. I have this one, and I also have a white one. So these ones are really great. You can definitely buy more expensive inks and cheaper inks. Speedball has a really great intro ink, but I personally really like these ones, and I got a whole bunch of them for a gift, so it's pretty handy. And for any metallic colors, the best one to use is the Finetech colors. You can get tons of different metallic colors. Right now I just have the gold, and it's really easy to work with. You just add a bit of water and then put it into your nib. You can use it as well for a brush, like a paintbrush, or your calligraphy pen. So it's pretty versatile, and it has a really great metallic finish. And it's a little tricky to use, but once you get the hang of it, it's pretty easy. Next, I have my favorite brush pens. My favorite is the Pental Artist Pen, I think it's what it's called. I'll put a link to it in below. I did a video how to use this, so I'll also link that up here. It's just pretty much like a paintbrush, but the ink is in the barrel here, and you can replace this barrel when it runs out and just keep reusing the top. Another great one for brush pen lettering that is not as large as this one is this Tombow. It does a really good job of getting good thicks and thins, and it's really great for beginners, but it also creates smaller type if you don't feel like writing as large. Another favorite is this water brush. It's great for watercolor lettering. You can put water in the back and then just dip it into your watercolors. Another great tool for brush lettering or watercolor lettering is just a paintbrush. This one is the Windsor Newton in the size 2, and it's a round brush. There's tons of different brushes you can get. If it's more precise at the top, you can have thinner lines. This one is a little bit thicker, so it's definitely a heavy brush style. You can use them with calligraphy ink as well as watercolor or acrylic ink. They're very versatile, so definitely having a few of these on hand is also very helpful. I have a box of my watercolors here, and my favorite is again the Windsor Newton watercolors. They do a really great job, and they don't dry out. They last pretty long. Another good one to use is the Liquitex acrylic ink. It's a little bit of a different feel, but they're also really cool to use with the water brush or with the other calligraphy brushes I'll show you later. If you want to do a calligraphy style with a larger nib so it looks more Gothic, similar to the Fracture style, you can use the Pentel Pilot Pen. There's a few different sizes. This one is the largest. It has very wide, flat nib. It's super easy to use. The ink flows really nicely, so you get a very good consistency. You don't have to keep dipping it into the ink because this unscrews, and then you have the ink cartridge in the back. There's tons of colors, and you can also refill these if you become a little bit more advanced. You can put your own colors in there so you can reuse them. So this is definitely my favorite. It's my favorite style of lettering, and it's my favorite pen to use out of all of them. A little more advanced is this pen. It's the automatic pen, and you do have to dip this one in ink. I like to use the Liquitex ink with this pen. I have it in white, which does a really nice effect on black paper. And if you want a super thick stroke, the Copic wide is really good. With this marker, you can do a more graffiti calligraphy style, which is really cool. For line work on black paper, the best pen to use is the Jelly Roll in white. It's very opaque and it has a very fine tip, so you can do lots of cool things like mandalas or a faux calligraphy where you draw the lines out and then fill them in with your own thicks and thins. For line work with black pens, I like the Micron archival ink pens. I usually use the 5, the 1, and sometimes the 3. And here are a couple pens that are a little bit more random. You have an oil-based Sharpie pen. This is great if you want to do some surface lettering on mugs or wine glasses, anything like that. And then I also use this Ranger marker brush pen for embossing. So if you have a heat embosser and the embossing powders, you can use the Ranger pen to create brush lettering and then make it have that gold foil effect afterwards with your heat gun. So those are all my favorite tools. There's a few other things you can use to really pump up your calligraphy. If you plan on doing calligraphy for wedding invitations or envelopes, you can buy this handy little address stencil. You can make it yourself or you can buy them online. This really helps with getting everything in line, and then you don't have to draw out the lines every time. Another handy tool is this laser. You can put it over your work and create lines so that you don't have to actually put pencil on the paper, and then you don't have to erase anything afterwards.
I also have this really great clear acrylic container to hold all of my brushes, and I think I found this at HomeSense.
Those are my favorite calligraphy tools. If you learned something, give this video a like, and if you want to see more, subscribe below, and thank you for watching.